Business taxes. We're stressing about all the time and all the money you spent on your taxes.
This is my bill?
Now Business Taxes is a TurboTax small business expert who does your taxes for you and offers year-round advice at no additional cost, so you can keep more money in your business. Now this is taxes. Intuit TurboTax. Get an expert now on TurboTax.com/business. Only available with TurboTax Live Full Service.
You're listening to Later with Mo Kelly on demand from KFI AM 640.
It seems like it's a family reunion up in here. Nick Poliokini joins us in the studio. Happy New Year.
Happy New Year.
You know, I guess it's not too late to say it. Yeah, I know we're about halfway through the month, but it's not like I've been able to see you. So
no, and I think that's the funniest part. While we've maybe text messaged and we randomly ran into each other at a fast food restaurant across the street.
No. We're going to start. That's where we're going to start the conversation.
Let's start out with that because that was the funniest thing ever earlier today.
I left my house at like, I want to say 4:30.
Okay.
And it took me.
That's tight, Mo, because you're usually here really early.
Oh, well, that's the whole point. That's why I end up there because I need to get some food before I go on the air. So it's 4:30. It's 5 o'clock. It's 5:30. It's getting on to 6 o'clock. I said, I got to have something to eat before I get on the air. And there's some things I need to do to get ready for the show. So I'm kind of rushed. I pulled by Chick-fil-A and I see like the parking lot is damn near empty.
It was really surprising.
During dinner hour, I said, shoot, this is a sign. So I pulled into the parking lot and I had no problem getting a parking space, which is really, really, really rare.
Yes. No,
really rare.
It was really quiet over there.
I go into the restaurant. There's no one in line. I said, okay, this is another sign.
Yes.
And I get my food to go. It took like all of 3 minutes. No exaggeration. I don't care if it was frozen and they just microwaved it. I don't care. I was hungry. I was in a rush. I had to get back to the studio. I walk outside and there was a very nice young lady by the name of Margaret. Let me back up.
Yeah.
I made my order and I said, what name is it going to be under? And I said, Mo, because I'm not thinking anything of it.
Of course.
It could be Mo. It could be Morris. Sometimes I say it's Tyrone just to mess with people. Okay. It's a point of reference.
No, of course.
I get my food, go outside, and Margaret comes up to me, and she says, are you Mo from KFI? And it's like, well, you know I am because you know I am. I mean, because you've heard my voice, and you've seen me, and I assume that you know at that point. But she was very nice. She said, oh, my gosh, I always listen to your show, and aren't you supposed to be on the air soon? I said, yes.
Which is even funnier. So while this is transpiring, I am sitting on the other side of the restaurant and I hear Margaret call Mo's name for his food. And I am show prepping to come to the show tonight. And I text message him and go, well, neither you nor I were at Chick-fil-A across the street from the studio tonight.
Neither of us were.
Neither of us were. But, yes. And it was even more entertaining because I thought he saw me because he looked right through me when he happened to scan the restaurant just randomly as he was walking out the door. So.
I'll tell you, when I'm in a situation like that, I'm always not scanning for threats, but I'm just looking at the general lay of the land.
Well, it's funny because even the place, if you had seen me, I am always that way. You and I come from very specific cultures. So I'm LGBTQIA+, you're black. We both have very specific, well, allegedly. I mean, welcome to KFI.
Oh.
But anyway, we both have very specific ways of entering rooms.
You said a word there.
Yeah. But I'm just saying, we walk into a room, we know where the exits are. We always are very that way. So when I walk into a room, I have my back to the wall. I know where the exits are. So that was when I was in there. I had a very specific setup, and you and I have a very similar way. We go out to dinner. We've gone to lunch. We have the same way of assessing a situation. So it's funny because it was that same way. You had the same scan of the room as you're walking out.
Yes.
And so anyway, that was when I was sending you the text message.
Yeah, because I'm not looking for anyone. Like if I'm in line waiting for my food, anyone who comes in that door, I'm aware of.
Right.
Just in case it may turn into something else. We live in a world where you got to know.
No, you got to know. You got to know. So
and I get in my car and I get this text message from Nick, and it was a very funny reminder. And this is something I always tell young people specifically.
Sure.
Having nothing to do with technology. Mm-hmm. Someone is always watching.
Of course.
Someone is always watching. It might be people watching. They may be watching with intent. They may be watching because they want to do something to you, but someone is always watching. Right. So mind your P's and Q's.
Always. Because then anything that's said, it's specific to what we have been trained with.
Yeah. Or like, for example, going back to Margaret, I could have been acting an ass.
Yeah.
A complete ass. And then that story is told somewhere else. with no idea. I have no idea about it.
Right.
So that was.
You can tell that this. We have been friends for a long time, and you can tell this. No, you can tell this because we had a whole plan, and there was going to be a thing, and we're going to get to it.
We're going to get to it.
But this is so funny because we can go down a tangent. But it's been a wild start to 2025. Period. Full stop.
Yes.
And we had a wild end to 2024 here at KFI and at iHeartRadio in general. But some of the things that I wanted to really touch on. We've had so much inundation, and the KFI team is incredible and have been working so hard. And I think that that's the biggest thing with everything that wrapped up 2024 and everything that is going into 2025. The team here and the iHeartRadio team specifically has worked so incredibly hard to make sure to keep you informed of everything that is happening in and around the fires, the Palisades fire, the Altadena fire. Everything has been so heavy. And so we wanted to take a moment to find a little bit of levity, and not to be ha-ha levity, but there's a way to celebrate everything in and around it. And the Laugh Factory just did this past weekend. They donated proceeds from every single one of their shows from Friday, Saturday, and Sunday this past weekend. All of that from all the comedy shows went to the fire relief with the LA Fire Foundation. Fluffy Gabriel Iglesias down in Long Beach, where I'm from, he has been doing Pounding the Pavement and collecting funds.
That's a funny dude.
He's an amazing, and he's such a cool guy. Like I run into him regularly. So, he's a huge,
really?
I do all the time. He lives in Long Beach.
You gotta tell him to come on because I've wanted to have him on.
We can have him on. That's easy.
Yeah, because I've seen him a bunch of times.
We can do that. No,
a bunch of times live. I'm serious. I have.
No, we can do that. That's
okay.
Easy. No, that I can make happen. That's not a problem. So that we can figure out for later with Mo Kelly.
Fluffy.
Fluffy. But he's a Volkswagen guy, and I am as well. So he actually just got the ID Buzz, which is the new van that's out from Volkswagen, because he's a huge.
Oh, it's nice. I saw that the other day. It's a nice throwback.
Yeah, no, and so he has a warehouse that's actually not far from where Brian and I live. So it's kind of the Wilmington Long Beach border is where his warehouse is. Anyway, not to give all of his secrets away, but I run into him at a couple of hangouts in Long Beach because that's where he is, and he has been doing a lot of things, Pounding the Pavement. He's been at Randy's Donuts over in Inglewood and getting a lot of money and donations. But I'm just saying, yeah.
Be clear.
Yeah.
There's only one real Randy's.
You're correct
donuts,
with that
okay?
one. No, you're right with that one.
There are a lot of big donuts around here, but there's only one. I just want to make sure we're talking about the same one.
Yes, we're talking about the original Randy.
Okay, thank you. Go ahead.
No, but Randy's has kind of expanded because you can now get Randy's at LAX. But that's a story for another day.
That's the whole point. It's not the same thing.
No, that's not the same thing at all. But the thing that's interesting that I want to talk about that is going to get a lot of buzz here very, very soon, and so we're not breaking any news here, but is the big benefit concert that's going to be coming up here at the end of the month. And I'm confident that iHeartRadio is going to be involved in some way, shape, or form. Nothing has been officially announced, but it will be happening at the Intuit Dome, not too far from you.
We talked about this last week, yes.
Right. Mm-hmm. And so there is more information has come out as of today. So that's specific that I want to kind of touch on it. It looks like that's going to be including both not just Intuit Dome, but also now Kia Forum is going to be a second venue.
Perfect sense. Turn it into like the Olympics.
Exactly. And so where it was originally 24 slots and at least 50 artists that were going to be involved or have shown interest in involvement, it will likely expand beyond those 24 slots. And also, it has been allegedly, we'll say, just because we don't want to give away facts that we don't 100% know here on KFI, but it will be also live streamed. Now, what I'm going to say, very likely because this is a charity event, it will likely be a pay to view live stream because it's a charity donation. So don't expect you're going to be logging onto YouTube or whatever it is and being able to enjoy these incredible artists for free because, again, at the end of the day, it is intended to be a fundraiser. So it is going to be Fire Aid Relief Benefit Concert. It is slated for Thursday the 30th, the end of this month. Details are still coming out. If you want to visit this week, I have Nick Poliokini on Instagram. I have links in my bio that have all the updated information for you there. So I've been keeping it up to date as much as possible. That's kind of the big event that is coming. The things that I do know for sure, at least to this point. So granted, everything's organic. And I don't know why this is the weirdest thing, but at this point, we know who's not performing or not participating. Allegedly?
No.
Yes.
We talked about this actually last week.
Okay.
You're not going to know who is performing because there's some legal issues around that.
That's 110% correct. So I think that's it. So I think you're looking at that. But what we do know is folks that have donated and will be involved in some way, shape, or form. Beyonce has already donated $2.5 million just in general to the funds. While she may not be directly involved with this, she has already been involved in donating. So you never know. She could pop up. We will see. There's a very possibility.
But they're not going to announce it.
Right. But they're not going to announce that. But looking at some of the actors that have been involved here, Jamie Lee Curtis and her husband have already donated $1 million. There is a possibility of them being involved. They've been doing stuff here with iHeartRadio and with the Dream Center and everything else. Paris Hilton has also done some stuff. But there's just a lot going on. So that's the airtime I want to give to the big names.
Remind me to tell you my story of me and Paris Hilton after the BET Awards.
Oh?
1 year.
Oh?
Yeah.
Okay.
We were hanging out one night.
Okay.
True story.
Oh. All right.
You're listening to Later with Mo Kelly on demand from KFI AM 640.
If you follow me, first of all, thank you very much. If you follow me on social media and have followed me for a long time, I really appreciate you. And the biggest thing that I have encouraged a lot of if you listen to Later with Mo Kelly, I announced here I'm no longer with iHeartRadio as of last year. Hopefully I'll be coming back. You never know. It's a world. But anyway, social media is one of those times or those areas where sometimes you need a cleanse. And so if you have noticed, my account has been pretty quiet since the fires have broken out. And I was talking to Mo and Twala off the air. And the reason it has been is because, and I'm not saying this to toot my own horn, but I've been volunteering every day since the fires have been happening. And for me, it's important to be in my community. And granted, I live in Long Beach, so the only issue we're dealing with in Long Beach is poor air quality from the fires. I am very thankful, and I have had people in our garage and in our guest rooms, and we currently have a friend that Brian went to college with who is displaced people from both Altadena and from Palisades Fire, and one of Brian's best friends from Biola, from Bible Institute of Los Angeles here in LA, who he went to college with. From the Palisades, I know.
He went to Biola?
He went to Biola. That's where Brian went to, yeah.
I did not know that.
Yeah, no, so that's...
I've known him for how many years? Didn't know that.
Yeah, no, he went to Biola.
What happened?
Oh. So many stories. You want to, that's my Paris Hilton story. But one of his best friends that he went to Biola with, who lives in Topanga, has been under evacuation orders since the beginning, and so he's still waiting to go home. He's still waiting for evacuation orders to lift from Palisades, so he's still with us right now. And I think that's the biggest thing and I'm doing my best to keep it together because it's been crazy emotional for all of us. And I think the thing that I like with KFI and with iHeart, it gives us a platform to show emotion and genuineness. And I think that's the thing that I love being here and being able to put forward is that we don't have a platform.
You're tiptoeing around it. And I will say this, there have been a lot of tears in the studio.
Sure.
There are a lot of tears in these hallways for this past week. We just haven't let everyone know about it.
Yeah. And and it's hard. And it's because even though you who are riding along with us in your car, you are listening to us on the iHeartRadio app, you who have been with us for years and listened to us here on KFI or have maybe followed us from other stations, you know us and you have become a part of our family and we have become a part of yours. So you know our stories and you know our backgrounds. But there are times that we need to keep things private as well. And so there's a lot of times that we are, commiserating behind the scenes. And there are some things that we need to just share amongst ourselves. And so there are also times with a world with inundation of so much information that we just share it amongst ourselves. And so that's why going back to social media, my account has been pretty quiet because I have been pounding the pavement in Pasadena and Altadena and the San Gabriel Valley and doing what I can every day to help benefit the people who I love and care about. And the same for those in the Palisades area, because it is important, because this is Southern California. This is our community. And so the thing that I want to shine a light on, and I've been really trying to get back into the social media world, is there are a lot of small businesses that we talk about here, especially on Later. And we've talked about when it was the Mo Kelly show on weekends and Small Business Saturday and everything else. There are so many businesses who are doubling and tripling down by putting out t-shirts, $15, $30, 100% of the proceeds are going to the fire relief, or they're going to Pasadena Humane, or they're going to help the LA Conservancy to help out the wildlife and all that stuff. There's so much happening in our own backyards. And I know that it's really, really hard to sift through a lot of the noise that's happening right now in the media as you're listening to our station, to KFI, or you're watching television, or you're checking out social media. But lean into it. And when you're looking for things, look for ways you can help. And I know that there are many, Mr. Rogers was great. Always look for the helpers. And it sounds silly, and that may sound a little kumbaya for some people, and I don't really care, because you got to look for the helpers. And we are in a point right now in Southern California where we need to band together, and we need to work together, and we need to be in each other's back pocket. And sometimes you got to slip a 20 in each other's back pocket, and that might be buying a t-shirt to help support whatever organization it is, because we have got a lot going on coming up here in 2025 and beyond that we just got to support each other. And so anyway, I just want to say, keep an eye out on social media, because there's a lot of opportunities to support each other and help out. But a lot of it has to do with right now, coming up this weekend, there are a lot of opportunities for you to be able to give back and have some fun doing it. So if you visit This Weekend with Nick or Nick Poliokini on Instagram, I am fairly confident if you visit the other social media accounts for iHeartRadio here in LA, I'm not 100% sure, can't speak for them, but I can speak for This Weekend with Nick and Nick Poliokini. Link in bio has all sorts of details of local community organizations, comedy shows, concerts. A buddy of mine, Barry Under Your Bed, who is a ventriloquist and does a little monster guy. He has been taking and doing FaceTime calls with children who lost their homes to be able, for free 99. We love free 99 here on Later with Mo Kelly and, This Week with Nick, but, doing FaceTime calls. And he even recorded, Jeff, I'll just put
it out there.
Yeah, but Jeff, he literally recorded a version of the Rainbow Connection that Kermit the Frog is known for, but with Barry Under the Bed, this little monster character singing it. And just to see the most unusual communities that you would think, and like you were talking about earlier when Chris was here and talking about horror films and things with Mark Ronner. My birthday is Halloween. I'm a big part of the Halloween and horror community. They are some of the most generous people, and all the different the conventions that I have attended, Midsummer Scream, they have a charity function that's going on right now and raising funds. Like, it's wild to think how many people are bending over backwards to help here in Southern California. And I know it's really hard with everything that's going on a national stage right now. There's a lot happening, and there's a lot
pulling us in another direction.
There is, absolutely. And that's probably the best way to put it. There's a lot of noise that's happening that's pulling us in a different direction. And I want you listening to us now, whether you're listening to us live or you're listening to us on the podcast, and it is not in real time and it is down the road and you are tuning in, you are worthwhile, and there is research that can be done no matter if you're listening to us now or down the road or in the future. You can find ways to help and get help and be able to assist and be able to help out with the fire now, whatever the situation may be down the road. But I'm just saying, here in Southern California, being born and raised, we are a community that bands together.
I am so amazed at the depth of people's willingness to help their fellow, when I say man,
sure,
their neighbor, because there's so many opportunities not to. It's
Indeed.
Easier not to, but I am overwhelmed. I am overjoyed at what I see, these intentional acts of kindness.
Yeah.
People doing as much as they can with everything they have, just right where they are. They're not going to single-handedly bring a community, a neighborhood, or maybe even not even a full house back.
Right.
But they are helping people move through this moment. Because let's be honest, this has been a craptastic start to a year.
It has been.
I mean, my goodness.
No, you're absolutely right. And I think the thing that's even more unique is because we're such a melting pot here in Southern California. So not only do we have some really unique historical communities that have been affected by the fires, but we have an international community here. So just like what you said, and you've got neighbors helping neighbors, but you have cultural neighbors that are helping cultural neighbors. You have communities that may not have ever thought of reaching out to their neighbor. There are people who may have had qualms with each other before, or may have had situations where they were a little bit afeared of each other before. And people are putting them aside. And people are, really pushing through that discomfort to be able to work as a community. And I'm not even saying a global community. Mm-hmm. I'm an LA community. And as funny as it sounds, as I have made many a joke with the Orange Curtain of Orange County and other things as well, we have people that are coming up from San Diego and coming from Orange County and from Riverside County and San Bernardino County and the Central Coast and coming down from Nevada and coming in from Arizona. People are coming from Oregon and down from Washington. But I'm saying, like, people are making the drive. People who have even just visited and been a temporary part of our community are coming in. People who may not, quote unquote, politically be a part of this area. People who may not align with different thought processes. Right. Because they're doing the right thing, because they know it's the right thing, because they care about their fellow man.
It's never a wrong time to do the right thing.
Correct, of course. And I think but it's funny with how 2024 wrapped up and how 2025 opened and how hard it is proving to be, but we're seeing a shining light, even if it's just a small glimmer.
Hopefully it's not a train oncoming.
I agree.
Because there's a lot going on. But I am, as cynical as I tend to be, and sometimes I choose to be, I am encouraged by what I'm seeing, what I'm reading. I feel as if good is winning out, when most of the time I don't feel that way.
I agree. And I'm going to say, even in those inklings where, just like you said, I too am like you, where I don't necessarily feel that way. I am, for a change, pushing aside that gut instinct of saying, oh, but what if?
Right.
Not to say marvel in what if.
Hopefully, right. It'll last beyond this moment. Hopefully it won't require a perpetual disaster.
Sure.
To have us to find any reason to come together and see each other as not only as Americans, but just brothers and sisters and neighbors and friends, people of the same community, because we were already that before the disaster.
Indeed.
We just forgot about it, or we chose to turn our back on it. We can have an argument as to what it was,
right,
but I'm glad that we're here. Hopefully we can just kind of remain here for just a little while longer.
Yeah. So all I can say is, for you who are here with us and listening right now, thank you for tuning in, but also thank you for what you're doing each and every day. Getting up, putting your pants on one leg at a time, listening to KFI.
Hey, I got news for you. I put my pants on both legs at a time. I sit on the bed, I lean back, and I put on both legs. Okay, I'm special like that.
We all know that Mo Kelly is an overachiever. We are all very well aware.
Mark Bronner might do it one leg at a time, but damn it, I don't.
Do you put on your Depends 2 legs at a time?
I was not exactly, I don't think
openings.
Mark Bronner doesn't even wear pants, but anyway.
That's true, because he always talks about how he does the news in his underwear.
You can't see me above the waist. It doesn't make any difference.
Well, you give us the visual.
Please don't.
Going to let you hang out
Mark.
there.
I don't want to see that.
Oh, did you say hang out there?
Okay, look at the time. Look at the time.
Sit down. Anyway.
KFI, AM 640, Mo Kelly here. Nick, you're welcome to hang out if you like.
Thank you. I'll stick around.
You're listening to Later with Mo Kelly on demand from KFI AM 640.
KFI, Mo Kelly. We're live everywhere on the iHeartRadio app. And again, want to refer back to the daily briefing, which took place earlier today, giving all of Southern California an update on the status, on the fires, also evacuation zones, expectations regarding the curfew. We heard from civic leaders. We heard leaders from first responders, law enforcement. And there's something else I want to play for you. First, wanted to listen back to, I hope I get this right, is Jerry Magana of Cal Fire.
Good morning. My name is Jerry Magana, representing incident management teams for the Palisades and Eaton Fire. I just wanted to once again thank the partners and cooperators for all of their continued teamwork with these incidents. We couldn't do it without each other and without the support of the community. As mentioned, for both fires, I just wanted to continue to stress the fact that it is important that the public stay informed on the process and what is happening each day on these incidents. With all of the press briefings that are given, a ton of information is being put out there. Just please make sure that you are aware of the information for your impacted area. As a whole, for both incidents, DINS inspections continue and will be thoroughly processed to get the latest information out to you so that you have the ability to gather that information and move forward within your process. USAR operations continue for both incidents, and we will continue to update our cooperators and partners with the latest and greatest information. And today you'll also be hearing about the disaster recovery centers that are being opened. More detail to follow, but we just wanted to make sure that you as the public are getting all the information that you need to move forward in the process, and that all of us up here on this stage are working together for you to get you the information that you need. Please stay patient with our process. We will get you in as soon as we can. Thank you.
And here is Supervisor Catherine Barger.
It has been 7 days since my constituents' lives were devastated by the Eaton fire. 7 days. At the most recent in-person community meeting we held for Eaton fire survivors, we had hundreds of people attend. Also, more than 50,000 people joined on live stream. This speaks to the scale and impact of this devastation. All eyes are on FEMA at this moment. We know, value, and appreciate FEMA's partnership. They are the agency who is there for people in their time of darkest need. It is of the utmost importance that we be very clear about what support and help FEMA can realistically provide. For wildfire survivors, they need nothing less than clear and transparent answers about how they will be supported through the recovery process. I want to thank Bob Fenton, FEMA Administrator for Region 9, for being here today. I thank you for speaking to my constituents so they can plan the way forward. I also want to make sure survivors know disaster resource centers open today. Disaster resource centers are staffed by local, state, and federal officials who are there to help those impacted by these fires. The east side location is Pasadena City College Community Education Center, located at 3035 East Foothill Boulevard in Pasadena. The west side location is UCLA Research Park West, 10850 West Pico Boulevard in Los Angeles. Both locations will be open from 1 p.m. to 8 p.m. today, and then starting tomorrow morning and moving forward, they will open from 9 a.m. to 8 p.m. Details can be found at recovery.lacounty.gov.
Still with me in studio is Nick Poliokini. Nick, this is an approaching holiday weekend, the King weekend. It's going to be a little bit different. You have the Trump inauguration going on in the background.
Yes.
You have a not holiday-esque feeling time. Correct. But what should we do? What might we do to get out there?
So I've got a handful of things, and I think you have to remember, like we kind of talked about, and we are all very well aware of what's happening in the Southland right now. So as has been talked about in the news here on KFI, and you hear on some of our PSAs and everything else, KN95 masks are encouraged if you're going to be out and about, just for your own health and well-being, because, you know, the air quality is not the best. But I've got a couple of old school. We'll keep it old school for this week. I'm with Nick, and we do love a good free 99 event. So one that is, as far as I know, at this point in time, and we'll find out what happens with the Santa Ana winds and the fire situation. But in the city of Monterey Park, which is in the San Gabriel Valley, they will be doing Lunar New Year kickoff this weekend. So in downtown Monterey Park, both Saturday and Sunday, free 99, you can take the family and enjoy Lunar New Year. So this year it is the celebration of the Year of the Snake. And that's a big thing. So Lunar New Year is a celebration throughout the Asian Pacific Rim with details for all different cultures celebrating different versions of it. So you've got Tet and you've got all different avenues of that. In fact, I'll actually be at the Disneyland Resort this weekend celebrating with them. You can actually start seeing me as of Thursday. I'll be doing a couple of things with the Disneyland Resort as well as Friday for the kickoff of Lunar New Year at Disney California Adventure Park. And they'll be doing some fun and exciting new things for that whole tie-in. So I'm sure that they will be featuring Ka from Jungle Book and a couple of other snakes from Disney lore.
That scared me as a kid, but that's okay.
But, I mean, you didn't enjoy the psychedelic eyes?
Well, it scared the bejesus out of me. Had nightmares.
Nowadays, I mean, in Southern California, it could be a whole different ballgame with those eyes. But anyway, so that's one of the opportunities that is available for you to be able to check out. But also, even something that I'm just going to tease, and I know this is a little crazy, and then we'll get back into what's going down this weekend. But today is Tuesday, the 14th of January, and that means we are a month away from Valentine's Day. I know it's crazy to think. I'm just saying. But this is the thing that's interesting, and I have seen a little bit of scuttlebutt about this. I think, and it seems very accurate. So Valentine's Day is going to be a Friday this year, so that means it's going to be a weekend. So two things are very likely to happen with what's going on in Southern California. We might see an unusual uptick in volunteering for Valentine's Day. There might be some activities that are a little bit more unusual. Okay. Also, it might be a time for going out of town. So you might want to start planning ahead for a little bit of a weekend getaway with your significant other.
Don't give my wife any ideas.
Are you listening?
No,
La Mujer, are you there?
She and I are actually on the same page. We had a conversation about this before we got married.
Okay.
Neither of us has any interest in Valentine's Day. It's a fabrication of
it's a hallmark.
Yeah. Okay. So we don't care about any of that. Now it's great for anyone else, just not for us.
I get it. That's fine. Nothing wrong with that. But I mean, well, it's also, if you do like one of my favorites, but this is because I'm a Disney fan, it's Valentine's Day is the 13th of February.
Is this like a Halloween-esque?
Yeah. So it's all about the Disney villains. Valentine's Day, the day before Valentine's Day.
Oh.
And the only reason I will not be with you next week is because I will be celebrating at the Disneyland Resort the very first Sweethearts Night for this season.
You're listening to Later with Mo Kelly on demand from KFI AM 640.
How many times do you go to Disneyland a year usually, on average?
I would say it's so funny because and this is always the thing because everybody, especially as we get past the summer season, people are like, you're there at Disneyland all the time. And last year I went in a year, which is way more than most people go. In 365 days, I went 18 times last year.
I don't think I went anywhere except maybe the grocery store 18 times.
I was going to say the gym, because I know you went to your dojo.
Yeah. I do that. Yeah, I do that just about every Saturday at the minimum.
So about 52 times to.
I would say 47
to the dojo because you've got a few times that are off. But so I would say I think it was 18 or 19 times because Disney sends you like an end of the year review of like how many times you visited for the year.
Oh, gosh. I don't think I'd want to know all the times you go.
But then you have to remember too, a lot of times it's more so for me because I am getting invitations to go and share all the fun and excitement of what's coming for the season with you to be able to share all the fun things that are coming. So, Sweethearts Night starts on the 21st, which is a week from today. That's an after hours event for Disneyland Resort. Also coming up very soon in the beginning of February will be the 75th anniversary of Peanuts over at Knott's Berry Farm. So I'll be bringing some of that to Later with Mo Kelly for What's Up with Nick, which will be really exciting to celebrate Charles Schultz and all the Peanuts characters.
Yeah, we have the same birthday.
Oh, do you really?
Yeah, Charles Schultz and me. Yeah.
Well, yeah, I was like, or Snoopy, or yeah. I love that.
November 26th, yeah.
I love that. Okay. Right before Thanksgiving? Oh, I guess I didn't know that.
It depends.
Okay. I know,
sometimes
right around
before, sometimes after. But I have to stop you there. I want you to back up for a second.
No, sure.
Because there's something that runs parallel to this. I don't know if you saw the story going back to Disneyland.
Yeah.
Disneyland has canceled the fireworks show, at least in the short term.
Yes.
Due to the windy conditions. Let me ask this question.
Of course.
You're intimately familiar with Disney.
Yes.
Wouldn't it have made more sense for Disney/Disneyland to just say, we're canceling the fireworks show for now?
Yes.
Period.
Yeah.
Not because it's windy.
No.
Just because the optics are not all that.
So the last time this happened in that same kind of vein was when in Walt Disney World in Florida, they had a malfunction. It's happened here as well when the dragon from Fantasmic caught fire. And then all pyrotechnics were cut off at the resort here at Disneyland Resort. Also, similarly, when Maleficent Dragon caught fire in the parade at Magic Kingdom in Walt Disney World in Florida, the same situation happened. They shut all pyrotechnics down. I agree with you. It should just genuinely be that way. And
fireworks is probably not the thing to be doing right now.
And I think for me, having been a former Disneyland Resort cast member, because that's long before my career in radio, back in 98, I know I'm very old.
What part did you play? Minnie Mouse?
No, Minnie Mouse?
Yeah.
I would be a very tall mouse. 5'10".
In those heels?
Yeah. Can you imagine? 5'10". I would be like a 6'2" Minnie Mouse. Hey, how you doing?
You don't have to speak. Minnie doesn't speak.
She does now.
She does?
She absolutely does.
When did that change?
I think I'm going to say back in early 2000s is when they started having. So there's a lot of technology that is advanced. So,
because the last two times I went to Disneyland, I don't remember. I remember La Mujer took a picture with Minnie, but I don't remember her saying anything.
So there's a handful of opportunities at the Disneyland Resort or any of the Walt Disney interaction points, because it can be on the Disney cruise lines or anywhere else, where you will encounter opportunities to interact with Minnie or Mickey or any of the Fab Five, or even beyond that, a lot of the different Disney characters. And they're actually able to speak with you and interact with you. So it's really quite impressive.
Like conversations? They're not like a doll with a string in the back?
No. Because, I mean, but you've seen Mando. You've been on. So Mando can talk to you.
It just feels different because
you're right. I know, I understand that. But there are definitely animated characters who have crossed the divide, if you will, into reality, who are able to interact with you, which is really quite exciting. So I was going to say Mickey, Minnie, Goofy, Donald, Daisy, Chip, Dale. I'm trying to think who else I've interacted with. But yeah, so not all over the resort, but
Deadpool, Wolverine.
Oh, absolutely.
Yes.
Have you not seen that show?
No, I went to the show.
You saw the show.
Oh, yeah. And I couldn't believe people were getting upset. It's like, this Deadpool and Wolverine. What do you expect?
Yeah, exactly. No. And I mean, one of my favorite shows is the Christmas show that takes place on Avengers Campus at Disney California Adventure, but whatever. Anyway. But yeah, no, I think for me, and this is something I've always thought for a long time, and I really hate to have guests visiting, and I haven't worked at Disney, and I'm calling them as if I work there, but I hate to have guests come from all over Southern California and beyond. But when we are in the Santa Ana wind situation, I feel that the Disneyland Resort should just communicate to guests that are visiting that we just don't have fireworks during this time period because there's a likelihood of being dangerous. Doesn't matter that we have fires right now. Just generally speaking, between this point of time and this point of time, Mother Nature is not necessarily on our side. And for the safety of you and the other guests, we just don't have fireworks.
Why haven't they gone to the drone show yet?
So that is very interesting because there's still at this point, even though a portion of it has lifted, back from 9/11, there's a TFR, a temporary flight restriction over the Disneyland Resort that has been instituted from 9/11 for protection of the resort, as well as there is a flight path from John Wayne Airport that
loops around it, right?
Right.
Yeah.
Because of that, the drones cannot fly over the resort because they would have to change it because the drones are specifically not allowed to fly over the resort.
But the exploding bombs, the red glare, bombs bursting in air, gave proof through the night. That's okay?
That's okay. Trust me. I know. And I think, but the thing that's funny, and if you visit YouTube or social media and see the absolutely incredible shows that they have at Walt Disney World and Disneyland Paris, and now they have at Tokyo Disneyland, those drone shows are insane. And it really irks me that we haven't been able to find a way to incorporate them here, even on a smaller scale, especially World of Color at Disney California Adventure, which is just a Disneyized version of the fountain show, in fact, created by the same company at Bellagio in Vegas. The same company behind the Bellagio fountain show is the same company that helped create World of Color at Disney California Adventure Park. I would love to see drones incorporated in that, and they would be low enough out of the sky that they could be involved on, because the point is, if they're at a low enough altitude, it wouldn't be affected by that temporary flight restriction or the TFR. Mm-hmm. Granted, over the castle over at Disneyland Park, a different ballgame, because it would have to be at a high enough altitude that it would be affected. But I agree with you. I think that we're at a point that it could be absolutely incredible, and there's nothing wrong with a few flashbangs that are coming off the castle.
Right.
So I think that you could combine those things, the small flashbangs that take place at Phantasmic and a couple of the different pyrotechnic opportunities. So for me, there's so much magic and so much technology that would be able to be incorporated. And I'm just disappointed. Disney, you are absolutely incredible. And I know that I can literally look out the studio here and I can see several of your buildings just down the street. But you are so absolutely incredible and you're a juggernaut of entertainment within the world and realistically the universe. Lord only knows that there's aliens out there. George Norrie could probably chime in on it. But Disney, I'm sure aliens are watching the shows from outside of our galaxy. But I would love to see things here happen in Southern California that haven't. And I think I'm disappointed that I haven't seen an incorporation of some of those really special, unique opportunities that have happened elsewhere within the Walt Disney Company here for us in Southern California, especially because starting in May is the 70th anniversary celebration of Disneyland Park here in Disney, California.
You're making me feel so old because I remember being a kid and Disneyland, the park, was still relatively new.
Right. Oh, I mean, you have to think. I'm also old enough that I had books. I had the ticket books. So I have ticket books,
A ticket, B ticket, E
I
ticket
still have
rides,
ticket books
all
too
those,
that are unused. So but I'm saying I too am old enough to have been around when ticket books were a thing before the tickets went insanely expensive and it was just one to get into the door, as opposed to
the e-ticket rides were the best rides, and they're only like a handful in the booklet. And I think an A-ticket ride with like the teacups. Like I don't want any of that stuff.
Yeah. Oh no, and I think that was a C ticket, but still. Anyway.
Okay, you get my point.
I feel you. No, I'm right there with you. But anyway, there are some amazing things that are coming. Paint the Night is returning to the Disneyland Resort for the 70th anniversary. I will have so many more exciting things to share with you for What's Up with Nick here during Later with Mo Kelly on KFI for the Disneyland Resort and so much more. I mean, I've got, me, I'm a plethora of useless information. If there was Who Wants to Be a Millionaire, I was definitely one of those people you should have called because I just got inside scoop on so much.
You're closing out the segment. You're closing out the hour.
Yeah.
Probably the show later on. Tell us how people can find you because it's been a minute since you've been able to do it like you always do it.
For me, you can always find me on social media, Nick Pagliocchini, which is always the challenge. But if you've been listening...
Pagliocchini?
Yes, Pagliocchini is the Pagliocchini. Very, very phonetical if you look at it.
I swore that was like a radio pseudonym for the longest.
No, the funnier part is, and Amy King here from KFI can confirm this as well, I was Mark Silvio for so many years here on KFI.
Mark Silvio.
Which is so funny to think that you had two
That is such a porn name.
Isn't it? See? You can tell we were right up against that safe harbor time period. Bow, chicka, bow, wow. No, I was Mark Silvio here for so many years on KFI. In fact, it was very funny because Chris Little, our former news director, was the one who made the change. I don't know, maybe a decade or so ago, over to me going by Nick Pagliocchini. I mean, Robin Berlucci, our former program director, also made the decision, but still.
Mark Silvio. So many, many years of working here, I was Mark Silvio, and then I became... Did you like wear assless chaps?
Well, I'm just like, I didn't even know Mark Ronner at that time period, who doesn't wear pants during our news reports.
No, Mark Silvio has a mullet and parachute pants.
And no chones.
And on that note...
There we go. That's how we sign up and wrap things up here at KFI.
KFI AM 640. We're live everywhere on the iHeartRadio app.
Fires are raging. KFI News is working. Stay safe. Stay informed.